Welcome to the SLT podcast. You know who we are. Myself, Mr. Moore. We have my esteemed colleagues with me. We have Ree. Johnson, how are you?
I'm good. It feels like I've not been here for a while.
No, do you know what people request you? You know, people notice when you're gone. People notice when you're gone.
And apparently she needs no introduction, man thing.
Not apparently.
So we can say we always miss you when you're gone, but we're happy when you're here.
Get me?
Yes. You know we've got Mr. Crawford over here. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Conscious of the... I don't even know I'm conscious of. I'm always conscious.
Yes, come on now. Alias conscious. So I'm going to jump straight into it today.
Yep.
Today's topic, it's a bit political. We generally don't delve into politics. There's a reason we don't, because let's be honest, although we're all friends, colleagues, family. Let's be honest, family. Almost. Yeah? I don't mean say almost family. Yeah, we have very differing political views. We have vastly differing, and that is testament of of respect and friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you can have vastly different views, political views, social views, but you love and respect each other enough to move on.
I don't even think I know your political views, to be honest, Ree.
That's not going to find out now.
Yeah, there's not to go into, but I feel like I know yours. But I don't feel like I'd
I'm sure you label them as being bougie.
Before let's talk about the topic. So the topic in hand, and I will tell you what mine are. The topic in hand is the private schools and the VAT, value added tax, being put onto private school fees. So we've got a new Labour government after years and years of a Conservative government, and one of their manifesto pledges was we are going to add 20% VAT onto private school fees. In essence, this idea of this kind of Robin Hood concept, we're going to take from the rich and give back and pump that money into public sector, so state sector schools.
even the way you're saying that is triggering me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry. Don't beat me up. So that is, but I think that's the way it was sold. Is that fair to say?
By and large, yeah.
Would you not agree? Come on, talk.
I think that's the narrative
Yes.
of let's take from quote unquote the rich and give to the poor. I would say it as everybody paying their fair share and redistributing or leveling out the vast inequality that exists in our country.
Okay, but to do it through education. So let me what's it called when you know, like when you let me state my point, or let me put my cards on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to an independent school for the vast majority of my education.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the age of 10, my school became grant maintained in year 9. So, 5 years, my parents paid school fees to send me to school. Yeah. Both of my children have received at one time or another private school education. My cousins were privately educated, not in this country. My nephews are privately educated, not in this country. So let me state that before we even
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. So it's only fair for me to say that, and I can wholeheartedly say, at the time in 1993, as a rambunctious black boy.
Boy, 93 now.
Yeah, stop it. This is where it all comes out. Oh, he's on yeah, but there's no grays in the beard. Anyway.
You die.
My barber can confirm there is no dye in the beard. But we move. If that alternative school wasn't available for me, because I was kicked out of my primary school, yeah?
Mad.
There was pretty much only one route for me. And that's not exaggerating. That isn't exaggerating. If you speak to people who I grew up with, and I've said this loads of times before, like people I grew up, it's like almost a joke how the hell did he become not only the teacher but an assistant head? People think it's him. Like, him. I was destined for one place and one place only, and
The roads.
the roads. And if it wasn't for that school, if it wasn't for the people in that school, if it wasn't for that church school, I've mentioned it so many times I don't even feel to mention it again. Yeah, like that's where it would have been for me. Yep. So my slant is slightly different, and I'm assuming Mr. Crawford, yours is going to be different. But I personally, I don't think the state sector offers a wide enough variety of educational choices to. So therefore, I can't wholeheartedly put down private education because it saved me.
Can I jump in?
There.
Can I go next?
Of course, yeah, man. Go on, man.
I don't disagree with the points that you made and the impact that it's had on your life. And I don't begrudge families personally for making that decision. I was even talking about this the other day. Would I, even when I have children, would I send them to a private school at some point in their education? I don't know if the answer to that is categorically no. My issue is from an ideological perspective. I don't like the need for independent schools to exist because I don't like education. I think it goes without saying, education is a fundamental pillar of society. Any healthy functioning society requires a strong education system.
Yes.
So why is there such disparity? And the other reason why I have an issue with it is because I don't think that's just circumstantial. I don't think that's just how it goes. I think there have been political decisions that have resulted in the necessity for some families that have the means to say, do you know what? This thing's done out. I have to, in order for my child to succeed, send them to a paid school. I hate the fact that there's a necessity for that.
Do you have an issue with grammar schools?
Selective schools?
Yeah.
Way less, if at all. I
Interesting.
don't think it's the
is it
same
because
thing at all.
there's money involved?
Yeah,
Because
because I think education is a human right,
yeah.
and as soon as you put a price on something that is a human right, I'm always gonna have an issue with that.
I know where you're going. I'm
so-
not going to interrupt you. Go on, set him up.
So the
Set him up.
quality, the quality of my education is predicated on the money that my mum and dad have in their pocket.
Always.
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's not what I'm trying to tell you. I'm saying,
And I'm meant to be okay with that.
If somebody wants their child to go to a grammar school, they need to sit the common entrance exam, the 11 plus, yeah? So they select children on their academic ability. There's a case to say that that's quite unfair. Like, not all counties even have grammar schools. Like, there are lots in Kent, and you have them in Surrey, but
In your home counties.
Your
like,
ends.
Yeah.
yeah, but there are. It's just like not every day. It's so idle.
Don't let him detract you from the point. 'Cause he knew you were about to come through it,
I
and
swear,
he felt it. Mind games. Don't let him do it. Ree, I got your back on this one because I know where you're
I'm
going.
listening.
Started from before we even got into the building.
Yeah, because he was trying to rattle you, man. Focus.
So there's a case to say that that's quite unfair. That children can go to a grammar school if they pass the 11 plus, whereas their contemporary might have to go to the local
comp.
Yes,
Sorry.
Exactly. No, but that's
Yeah.
come on.
It's me and you today. I'm not seeing
Synchronicity.
today.
Yeah,
It's
but
normally
both
it's
you,
you
man.
two against me.
Okay, so all right, let me give you another example. Do you have an issue with council flats?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think that some people?
I don't. Sorry, finish the question.
Do you think it's unfair that some people live in estates, whereas other people live in mansions?
Okay, now
Shelter is the basic human right.
yeah, but the quality of the shelter, I do have an issue with. I do have an issue. If you want to go down that route, I don't have an issue with social housing. I think housing is also a fundamental right, which any functioning society should have. I do have an issue with poor quality social housing, and not to kind of use this as a trump card, but Grenfell as an example. I do have an issue with the fact that you had people in social housing in shit, no exaggeration, deadly accommodation just because you wanted to save money. I see that as the same thing as shit schools, shit comp schools. and then and then the other side, and the reason why I don't like it is because if you paint this picture as, listen, if you just out here grinding, then you can just make it acting like there isn't like
Barriers,
there wasn't barriers
yeah.
and that people don't have different starting points. So no, if you want to be out here grinding and work for a mansion, do that, do your thing. But if you don't have the means to do that, your dignity should not be denigrated, and literally your life be denigrated because you don't have the means to do that in a society like this that's the 6th biggest economy in the world.
Yeah, but you've inadvertently compared state education to the worst possible example of social housing.
Let's not act like the quality of education in state schools just purely based on the resources equates to the quality of education in independent schools. So let's not lie to ourselves and act like that's not a contributing factor.
Hold on. This is the thing that I don't. That's interesting to me, and I've seen it, especially in you spoke about grammar schools. People will, and especially state schools, because how it works now is based on your locality. Yeah. So the borough in which I'm from is Haringey. It's split down the middle. You've got east and west.
Okay.
Yeah. West Haringey, you have there's a school. Somebody will probably put it in the comments. For some reason, my mind isn't what it was. In a very good area. Yeah. But you have to live in that area in order to go to that school.
Yeah.
And because of the people who live in that area, that school is a top school and has always been a top school. So I can afford to get my child into that school, which is a state school, if I can move into that area.
North London's mad for that.
So, no, that's standard. So even with your grammar schools, Kent, you have people who will move to a specific vicinity, pay tutors, something I'm familiar with, because that people always ask me, "Oh, do you do 11 plus? Do you do 11 plus?" Listen, let me get this straight. I could be killing it in the 11 plus.
Yeah.
If More Education did 11 plus, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, we could have cornered the market years ago. But there was part of me that was like, that's not really the market that I want to serve. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not the market I want to serve. However, the money in 11 plus, so there's, even if it is selective, even if it is a state school, it's about the people in the local areas.
Yeah.
You're paying a 200k premium on a house if it's around a specific school.
And it's
so to me, it makes no difference whether you live in a ghetto but you pay for your youth to go to a private school, or you take that money that you would have paid for them to go to private school and buy a house in an area.
The state school.
That's a state school. Yeah. It is what it is. But why should we penalise people
who's being penalised?
Hold on. If you now have to pay an extra 20%, because what it is the idea is that most people send their children to private school are rich. They're not. They are not. They just go without certain things. They don't holiday. They don't get to go back home or holiday wherever it is. They have to go on camping trips and everything. You with me? They have to. Oh, you're out of order. Is it staycation? They have to staycation. You with me? They don't get to get new shoes. They've got to resole their shoes and those kind of things. They are the majority of people are extremely frugal, and they take money that we would frivolously use and invest in their children's education.
Disagree, and I laud that. I don't disagree. If
the vast majority of people, because what people look at is they look at like Winchester. Is it Winchester? Winchester, Brighton.
Where's that?
No, stop it. Brighton College, Eton, Harrow,
St Paul's.
They're looking at Westminster. They're looking at those top private schools. Most people who go to private schools don't go to those private schools.
Yeah.
They go to these private. I'm going to say private schools that are maybe. What's the one in Catford? Oh gosh, excuse me. The St Dunstan's. You with me? You got St Dunstan's. You got other ones who are still good private schools. Yeah, but they're not the ones that you think of where people who are elite go. This is where just normal middle class people send their children who have. And the mad thing is, they're actually paying twice because their taxes pay for everybody else's children to go.
and
They leave that money and take their own private money to send their children into education.
My original point is I would never begrudge somebody that makes, if you have the means, that makes a decision to use the resources that you have to support your children and to make sure your children have the best life. I will never begrudge them. My issue is with the necessity to do that. I'm fundamentally opposed to the need for there to be private schools, and there are countries who have better education systems, objectively better education systems than ours, that don't have private schools. There are parts in Scandinavia, there are nations in Scandinavia that don't have private schools because they've identified that in order for us to have a thriving society, we have to be intentional about making sure that every individual within our society at least has the option to an optimum education. We don't do that. We make it selective, and you're never going to get me on board with that. You're never going to get me on board with that. If you're a family that says, listen, I'm going to grind, I'm going to make bread, I understand that the chances that the outcomes that my children have are going to be, there's a risk of them not being as good as they can if they go to this school. So I'm going to take my resources and put them in this school. Boy, do you
Good
think?
luck to you.
But so you shouldn't have to do that?
So you think it's the state's responsibility to provide equal opportunities for all children, no matter what?
What else is the state's job? What else are they meant to do? Let's unpick that, because I know we're talking specifically about education,
but it's political.
Yeah. So I'll give you my stance on what I think the responsibility of the state is. It's always national security. You have to say that. You have to say that. But I partly agree with that. Secondly, what are the fundamental principles to a functioning society? People need places to live.
Yep.
And I feel like that is an obligation for the state to create the circumstances for everybody to have a place to live. If education is not third in that, it's fourth behind only healthcare. The fuck are we talking? Sorry for swearing, but what are we talking about?
Careful.
What are we talking about? You're sitting here and telling me that it's not the state's responsibility to make sure that people have education.
I don't think it's whole. And this is now where our political ideologies will come into play, because you are clearly what would be left leaning.
Yeah.
Whereas I would arguably, as what would I say? Coming from an African Caribbean background, and knowing what the state has done to my people in this country, and looking at politically people around the world who look like me, any type of dependence on the state, or the idea that the state, I should be looking to the state for anything, doesn't compute in my head. So if I was locked, if I was locked into a system, let's say I was locked in with limited choice, I know, based on history, or I would say based on recent history, and politics around the world, that would make things probably worse for people who look like me. I disagree with that. Hold on. You can disagree. You can disagree, but the facts are the facts. I cannot see, so because if we look, forget here, if we look around the world, if we look around the world,
we can't forget here. We have to.
We can look at here, and we can look at around the world. Yeah, because for example, you brought up the Grenfell scandal. Yeah, the Windrush scandal hasn't even been mentioned. Most people don't even understand the intricacies of the Windrush scandal. No, but most people don't even get. Most people who were affected by the Windrush scandal don't understand the intricacies of the Windrush scandal. And if you pick it apart and begin to look at the impact of education, once you understand that, for you to say to me, in any way, shape, or form, that knowing the facts of that, I must trust the state, to provide equal education across the board, and I don't have any choice in that, to me, scares the life out of me.
So that rationale...
Because the expectation is that you're saying is that I must trust the state to do what's right. And
So-
as far as I'm concerned, and as far as historically I've seen, that doesn't happen.
Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're in the state or in the private sector. If you're looking at it from a racial perspective, those risks still apply. So that argument would imply that if you put your children's outcomes in the hands of somebody in a private institution, they're no longer at risk of
No, I'm saying
subjugation,
choice. No, what I have
which
is
is
a
not true. Sorry, go on.
No, but earlier I caveated it with my own story, in which I said if my parents didn't have that choice,
Yeah.
I'd be finished.
And
So
I,
that choice,
I don't disagree with that.
no. So
I don't like
if
the
they
idea
didn't
of it.
have that choice,
Yeah.
we
But
know
they-
where I would
But
be.
they shouldn't have to have the choice, is what I'm saying. They shouldn't have to have the choice. We should live in a society, and I know I'm talking from an ideological perspective, but this is what I believe.
And I can't. I wish I could. I would love to. Yeah, speak from a utopian ideological
Nah, let's not
perspective.
Let's not act like this is Narnia. Let's not act.
No, but that's how you're speaking to me.
Let's- but
That's
let's-
what I'm hearing.
No, let's not.
That's
act,
what I'm hearing.
Let's not act.
That's what I'm hearing.
Let us not act like there are not countries today in
Well,
this
no, hold on.
world
The countries that you mentioned,
thrive.
the countries that you mentioned
And I
were
sorry, you go.
Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, I resent this whole argument that the state does not underpin. The state does not play a significant contributing role to society thriving. I really, really resent that concept, because I'm not to say that. I'm veering off slightly, but the reason why I'm going down this route is because we talked about the state and the state being involved in people's lives. So if you look at capitalism, there's a economist, Mariana Mazzucato. You heard of her?
No, yeah, I
she I was introduced to her from. I read. She said rethinking capitalism. I remember I was reading it in school, and I had it on the desk.
Yes, yeah.
And
yeah.
GPH came in and was like,
We know that in Monday. We know
Anyway,
that.
there's an argument that she makes around the narrative around state involvement in thriving societies has been skewed, and the examples that she looks at is Silicon Valley. So we always look at these powerful private corporations in Silicon Valley and how they're instrumental to the economy of the nation. So Google, Apple, etc., etc., etc. What she argues is what people fail to acknowledge in the story of those economies or those businesses is that the state played a fundamental role in their ability to even exist. So all those massive tech companies that are billion, sometimes $1 trillion companies, they wouldn't exist without state-funded technology, such as GPS, which is state-funded, such as the internet, which is state-funded, such as touchscreens, which are all state-funded technologies. So what I'm arguing is that if something is as important as education, it needs to be state-funded. I'm not saying eradicates independent schools. I'm saying people shouldn't have to rely on them for their kid to survive. Is what my argument is.
You have made a brilliant point. Again, and I know you didn't like the term, from a utopian, egalitarian perspective, all good, bro. But you see, as a grandchild, of somebody who's from the Windrush generation, and understanding historically how that works, I cannot look at the world through that lens. I don't have the privilege of to look at the world through that lens, is a privilege that I don't have.
So you're coming at it from a racial perspective.
No, hold on. No, I didn't say a racial perspective.
Asking.
No. I was very clear on the perspective I gave you. As a grandchild of somebody from the Windrush generation.
Yeah.
If there is a context of that is race, there is a context of that is class. There are many different contexts in which you can look at it, but I'm giving it to you very specifically. So I don't always want it to be race based. You with me? Because if it was somebody from a working class mining town in flipping, I don't know, Yorkshire, the perspective in which they're going to look at it from is going to be, as I always say, socially, historically, and politically. So when I say Windrush, that's the encompassing in which I look at it from. Based on what has happened to that group of people.
Don't trust these, man.
I would love to be able to trust the state to be able to say, yes, that's what will be provided. But then you're now saying to me, yo, there's no choice. There's no...
I'm not saying that.
But you're saying you would eradicate...
No, I'm not. I didn't say that.
So you wouldn't eradicate private
I
schooling?
would not eradicate private schools. I don't like the necessity of private schools. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so the elements in society that...
If you want to re-up. But if you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't have had to go to a private school in order to essentially survive the roads. You should be able to go to a normal school and a state school and function and have the same outcomes. I don't like the necessity for them.
So you're gonna say, Ree?
I'm just trying to clarify what you're saying. Are you saying that state schools should be on par with independent schools so that parents don't have to make that choice, or there shouldn't be independent schools, despite the fact that you're saying you wouldn't begrudge someone choosing to send their child there?
So I'm never going to have an issue with parents making decisions to better the lives of their children. I can never reconcile with that.
Yeah.
If you asked me what I would do as a political leader, I would heavily invest more in state education, in the state education sector, so that there is less of an incentive for people to leave private schools.
Here's a better question then.
That's what I would do.
If you were the new leader of your own party, political party, oh mate, I know where's my passport? If you were
straight to Jamaica, you know.
No, because you can get me in Jamaica. I'm telling you, I'm going. No way. Feel to come get me.
Nah, he's mocking it. He's mocking it.
What would your decision be around private education? Because I think that's the clarity that. Because I kind of get what you're saying, but it feels a bit like will he, won't he kind of thing. So what is your?
At the top of my agenda would not be to eradicate state schools.
No, private
schools. Sorry, it wouldn't be to eradicate independent schools.
What would you do with them then?
Independent schools?
Yes, sir.
I would definitely tax them. I wouldn't have them as a charitable. I wouldn't give them charitable status.
So you do the same thing. You tax them.
Yeah, and then I would more heavily invest in the education sector, the state education sector.
So hear my question now, because this is something that's come up. Let's say those parents who are on the brink but are doing everything they can to send their child to a private school, they no longer can afford it, and they now have to send their child to state school. Yeah. So let's say, for example,
it's peak.
Huh? Don't do that.
It's peak. Look, listen. Listen.
No, do you know why I'm saying don't do that?
Go on. I'll do this.
Shush. Right, so on an EHCP, Section I will state where the child has to go to school.
Yeah.
And for some children, that means they have to go to a private school because within their locale, there isn't a school that can meet their needs. Yeah.
Whose fault's that?
Press the brakes because I'm not done. Yeah?
Damn!
Then you've got...
Oh, wait.
He's still talking.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
I'm over here. Go on.
Then you've got parents of children who have got SEN, but it's not named on their plan, or they might not have an EHCP, who are saying, do you know what, this private school is the best place for my child to thrive. And you're saying, oh, tough luck.
No, he's saying he'd say that they shouldn't be tax-free. They should not escape tax. My point is, see all of these kids, so he's not saying completely, he's saying they would have to pay the VAT. So the state, who is funding that EHCP, in essence, has to pay more, 20% on top. Yeah.
No, okay, so the ones where it's named on the plan, the local authority pay those fees.
They've now got to pay VAT.
But if my child doesn't have that school named on the plan, I'm saying no, they need to go to this school.
Yeah.
I am paying for the fees.
Yeah.
So if I can no longer afford to send my child there, he's saying tough luck.
He's not. What? He's not. What?
That's what he said.
You lot. Why do you say tough luck? Let's not go down a xenophobic kind of. You started it, so you deserved it. I think we need.
I bask in the bant.
So,
hold on. Let me clarify. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think, if I'm being honest, I think you two are slightly. I don't think you're being realistic about the huge inequality within our society, and your I'm just going to be candid here.
Yeah.
Then, if you have the means to invest in your child's education, you're in a minority.
Position,
You're in a minority,
Yeah.
and so let's not act like there's a huge vast. Let's not act like. Again, I'm going to be honest. You can at me, but all of the issues in society, my sympathy and my political decisions are not going to be geared towards those people. I'm just going to be honest. I think there's bigger issues to deal with. I'm more concerned with the working class people and working poor. I think the level of inequality within our society is so vast. If you're in that group that can afford to even consider
in the first place,
you're in what percentage of people in society can do that? What, 5-10%? You're in the top 10% of earners. I'm not making my political decisions on you. I'm sorry, and boy, it's peak out here, but it is what it is because there are people that are going through worse shit.
Hold on,
why do I keep swearing? I'm getting triggered. Hold on, let me finish the point. And then secondly, if we have to rely on private schools to provide education to students with special educational needs,
we've gone wrong.
Where are we? Where are we in society if that's the only school that you can send your kid to? Does that not speak to my point?
Yes, it does. I knew that's where you were going to go, but coming back to her point, which is like, as again, listen, I'd love to stand with you underneath the utopian rainbow as the
through the wardrobe
as the coins drop. You with me? And
let's not do floss. That. Let's see my man. Yeah, but, you see my man.
But
you know,
however. However, the reality is, when those parents who are on, let's talk about the reality, when their kids go back into the mainstream sector, and they've got no choice,
yeah,
and you've got
for everyone.
The state says the money that they said is going to be invested in the state system, we know isn't going to be invested in the state system.
It will be when those parents don't have it. I think it's better for everyone. I cut across you, but go and you finish, and then I'll make my point. Because can I or you?
No, man, go on, man.
So see, we spoke about this recently, and we spoke the analogy or the example you used is both your parents going to parents' evening and the power in the stance of your schools.
Yes, yeah.
I would
PTA
argue from a ultimately those families.
Those 10% families, once they get into the state sector,
if you're so conscious of your child's education that you're conscious and intentional about sending them to an independent school, and you have the means to do so, but then you get for whatever reason you then have to send your kids to state school, that over time is going to undoubtedly raise the standards of the state schools, because you think that these type of families now who go to these schools, they're going to allow anything but any substandard quality of education for their kids. Of course not, absolutely not. That's going to change the whole landscape of society, because you're going to have these families that are in these state schools. We've got no choice but to send our kids here. So now we're going to fight tooth and nail against the school, against the governing body, against the local authority, and then subsequently against the government to say, yo, these kids need these things, so you better make sure that they have these things. I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
But I don't know if this is your intention, but you're coming across as state schools are rubbish, yeah, and that's why people opt to choose their children to private school, because they get a better...
Sorry, go on.
They get a better offer, but... He's too young.
Sorry. Go on.
But there are loads of phenomenal state schools.
Yeah.
Like
there aren't enough. There aren't enough.
I work in one.
But they...
I do.
Yeah.
But they, I will only speak from my perspective. When they did the reforms and they changed the English spec, remember controlled assessment?
Yes.
And they stopped tiered papers, and it changed from letters to grades, and it was this big hoo-ha and all the rest of it. Some of my kids were the first kids to get a grade 9 in the country, for English lit. That's a state school.
I mean, good thing.
But no, hold on.
The point I'm making is you can go to a state school and be successful. Equally, you've got children who go to private school and end up
Listen, hold on. Well, let's not act like we haven't all worked in incredible state schools. We've only.
But that's
Have
what
you
I
ever?
don't know if it's your intention, but that's how it's coming across.
So Alex,
So she's just checking you, but I think he's talking en masse. And if we're talking en masse, to be fair,
statistically,
yeah, en masse.
that's a fact.
He is.
That's not my opinion. That's the statistical
right,
fact. You get better grades if you go to independent schools. Fact.
This has been very powerful. It's been a very, very powerful.
Because you have more resources. Sorry, I'm on one now. You have more resources. You have more bread.
Me trying to wrap
You
this
got,
thing
you
up.
got more bread. Nah, because I'm not about to go out like that. I'm not about to go out like that.
Kids
This
that
is
you try
to
and
you,
give a chance, but now
Rena.
you've got to send him out.
Miss Shropshire.
It's your last chance.
Can I just finish this point real quick? Listen.
Go ahead.
We've all worked in an incredible state schools. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that independent schools objectively have more resources, and resources play a significant role in the ability to educate children. And statistically, as a result of that, the outcomes of the children are greater. I've got people personally on an anecdotal level that say, I've got these two friends, two of whom went to state schools for secondary school, and then one of them went to a state sixth form, and the other one went to a private sixth form. Now, the one who went to a state sixth form, so let's go with it. Person A, person B, both in a state secondary school. Person A's grades were way higher than person B's grades in their GCSEs were way higher than person B's. Then when that person A, who were getting A's and A stars at GCSE, went to a state sixth form, and the person B, who's getting a couple A's but B's and C's, who went to a private sixth form, A's across the board at A level, 1 A, 2 B's. And the reason why is because of the resources that were afforded to this person. Obviously, I'm speaking on an anecdotal level, but the statistics also support that fact. So this is not me saying state schools are shit, because I endorse state schools. I've only worked in state schools, and to be honest, I feel like I will only ever work in state schools. But the objective outcomes, the statistical outcomes of students that go to independent schools is objectively higher.
No,
and that's what the problem is.
Hold on. I'm really, really sorry. I'm going to have to wrap this up, guys. We're going to have to wrap this up.
This isn't over.
There may be a part 2 on this one, but we're going to have to wrap it up for today's pod. So thank you very much. And listen, ultimately, let's hear what you've got to say in the comments. Let's hear what you have to say in the comments. You can see this is something that we're passionate about, and maybe this is the first time you've seen us have completely opposing views, but let's see what you've got to say in the comments. We're going to wrap it up for today's episode of the SLT podcast.